G'day YouTube. Today I'm doing something exciting that I've wanted to do for a long time. I'm going on the Savannahlander, herping on a train. Yes, you heard right, I'm herping on a train. Let's go meet Wil, the driver.
This is my good mate Wil Kemp, the driver of the Savannahlander. He's also a former zookeeper like myself, and he's also really into reptiles, just like me. So join me on this next adventure as we go looking for reptiles, exploring the amazing outback of the Gulf Savannah, and we check out some lava tubes where some snakes are known to come out and feed on the bats as they fly out. This is a train journey like no other. Our journey starts early one Wednesday morning as we depart Cairns Station in far North Queensland. Joining us on this journey is train driver Anthony. The trip through the savannah takes several days and the hours can be quite long, so it requires two train drivers.
You can see it sort of run across the cliff face and then it comes around. You sort of see a bit of a bridge up there, it's straight. So that's where we're going to be travelling, into the Barron Gorge.
After years of driving and hiking all over Australia, it's really nice to be able to sit back and have a guided tour. As we travel, Wil and Anthony share their vast array of knowledge on many subjects, such as local history, wildlife, plant life, and everything locomotive. It's not long until the leafy suburbs of Cairns turn into the even leafier rainforest.
It's the best waterfalls on the range. We'll see Barron Falls a bit later. There's not what goes down there, so these guys
As we climb further up this beautiful mountain range, Wil tells us a little bit about the difficult history of the track.
But the first guy to take the contract on to build it was a private company who took it on. And they started construction in the middle of the wet season, which is stupid. So with rain comes mosquitoes, malaria, stuff like that. So all these guys building the track are sick and dying. And that first bloke ended up giving up his contract. He said, yeah, I'm pulling out, I can't do this.
The first part of the journey is along the same track that the Kuranda Scenic Railway takes. Work on the railway started in 1886, but it wasn't completed to Kuranda until 1891. The difficulty of building this section of railway was the mighty McAllister Range. It took 15 handmade tunnels, 37 bridges and 3 million cubic metres of earth to get this track up the McAllister Range. By the time it had been completed, several workmen had lost their lives in the process. We stop off for a morning cuppa at the beautiful Kuranda Station. Kuranda itself is worth checking out. It's a beautiful town nestled in the rainforest. It's home to the mighty Barron Falls, which wasn't putting on its usual display of power, unfortunately. Time to head off again. And if there's one thing I know Wil for, it's his sense of humour. And just up ahead, we spot some people playing golf, and Wil decides to have some fun.
Oh, that was gold.
I wondered why we were delayed this morning.
As we travel along, the rainforest turns to sclerophyll, and eventually we reach the savannah.
There's been a lot of rain. It's the end of the wet season, so everything's quite green at the moment.
Almaden, the true outback, and our first night stop. Time for Wil and I to go herping.
Alright, we got a juvenile Jura. You gonna sit there for me, mate? It's tiny. I think that's Castanui, the northern one. And it's done a shit on me. Nice, nuggety shit on me.
We spot the ever-common green tree frog, Latoria cerealia. And sitting on the tracks, you'd be forgiven for thinking this is a snake, but it's actually a lizard, Burton's legless lizard. A relative of the geckos, I've noticed that the Burton's legless lizards in this part of the world have more of an upturned nose than the ones in Western Australia. This legless lizard is found all over Australia and feeds on skinks, which might be why it's so successful. There are several ways to tell that this is not a snake. The main one is it has ear openings. Snakes don't have ears. The Burton's legless lizard also has a fleshy tongue, not a forked tongue like a snake. It also has two small flaps of skin where the hind legs used to be. This is a product of natural selection through evolution. Dawn in the outback.
So last night we spent the night out at Almaden, and today we're going on to Mount Surprise.
Having left Kuranda behind yesterday, the Savannahlander is now the only train that runs on this track. This beautiful old 2000 class motor is mostly used for tourism. The line was originally used for hauling in the gold rush days. But after an outcry from locals when it got shut down, it reopened for tourism in the 90s.
The government, like I said, they just really focused on the roads. And around that time, a lot of railways around Queensland were suffering the same fate. They all just get shut down.
Just up ahead, Wil spots a goanna next to the track.
Oh, he's still there. He's still there, just here.
Oh, he's just here.
And he's standing up. He's down good. You're gone, mate. This is a good fight. You ready for the boxing match? Steve, you got that camera full?
Yeah. Please get bitten.
Yeah.
tend to see, Will has a tendency to catch them, or them catching him until it comes first. He's trying to get it right.
Will sneaks up, but this goanna's pretty nervy. And he's gone.
He wasn't hanging around that one, was he? Yeah.
With the temperature quickly rising, we get another opportunity to find a reptile. Will spotted another reptile, this time a venomous snake.
Oh, ah, damn it.
The snake was sitting next to the track, so its chances of survival are fairly slim.
Bugger! And that's the bad bit about the job. For someone who likes snakes and wildlife, I get more of this than live ones. Absolute bugger.
How heavy's the train you're trying to stop?
Well, each unit's like 22 tonnes, so yeah, 44 tonne. We're never going terribly fast, but like in this guy's case, I saw him, he's on the side of the line, and I looked back and he's here, but he actually flicked back around. I think they get so like overstimulated with probably the side of the train, the vibrations and everything coming through the ground, and it's like they can't get a fix on where to go or what to do. And this guy, he shot back around at the train, and a lot of people would probably use that as, oh, he had a go at the train. He didn't have a go. I think he just panicked and he tried to go for cover. And at that case, what he's done is underneath the train looks like cover, the shade, and I reckon he's just gone to duck underneath it. I reckon that's what they do, and decapitated himself in the bloody process.
So is that a grater?
Yeah, poor man's taipan. They're beautiful snake. Really nice looking snake.
Yeah.
Healthy. No skin worm on there. I can see normally these guys get a fair bit of worm on them.
Oh.
They go through a lot, you know, to get to this size.
Naturally, Will's a bit upset, but he gets his chance for redemption just up ahead.
Pulled the train up for some morning tea and the passengers are having a coffee with the other driver. But brought Steve down to one of my tin spots, and we just saw a flash of something underneath this one. So he said, wait, don't lift it up, I'm getting the camera.
Hello.
Oh, what a monster! Absolute monster.
Come on, buddy. There we are.
Beautiful.
Eastern blue tongue. From the Gulf country. Have a look at that.
Very cool. Nice, beautiful big fella.
Hey, wriggly. He's nice and warm under there. That's a good find.
Yeah, really cool. Good looking animal too. A little bit of a regen there. Oh no, maybe a tiny bit in the end, but
There we are.
cool as.
Been ages since I've seen one.
Especially in the bush. Find one in suburban areas of Brisbane, or it's one thing, but
Yeah.
out in natural habitat.
I find in North Queensland they're just not a common animal.
Yeah,
Rightio.
a monster.
Will is a great educator on reptiles, which is important for their conservation.
See his tongue? Well,
Yeah.
that's hence. See how inventive we are with names in
Are
Australia?
we good, eh?
What's a brown snake called?
Yeah. We call long neck turtle. Sawshell turtle.
There's many variations of a long neck turtle. Be careful.
But yeah, he's cool.
It's cool.
What's the other one? Red belly black snake. That's the other one.
I don't understand.
Yeah, no, he's very cool.
Very fast.
When people get to meet reptiles and our other wildlife, it makes them want to protect it and the habitat that they live in, which is really important.
There is always anything. Yeah.
They're little mini
That was good.
I get angry at you, did he? Yeah. Oh, I've got my tongue out now. Yeah.
The Gulf Savannah country of northwest Queensland is one of the most beautiful places I have ever been to. It has a tropical climate, great wildlife, and some of the most beautiful scenery you'll ever see.
Alright, we've just arrived in Mount Surprise. We're just fueling up. We're going to spend the afternoon and the night here. And we're going to head back tomorrow. So tonight, Will and I are heading out to Undara, the lava tubes, to see a few animals, hopefully see a few snakes. We might even see some snakes feeding on bats, so that'd be really cool. See what we can find. Check out what's in the roof of the railway shed.
Bats! These are Microchiroptera, which refers to the small insectivorous bats like these, as opposed to the large flying foxes or fruit bats. As the sun sets over the Gulf Savannah, Will and I head out to Undara to look for wildlife with Kane, a mate of Will's.
I'm going to say that was a male. The female has a little bit of a lighter colour and there's a nice dominant white wallaby because it's small, but these are eastern greys. That diamond shaped ear for me is always a key diagnostic for eastern grey kangaroos and one of the largest macroplods we have here at Undara. Taking advantage of this burnt landscape, the fresh shooting grasses, this fire was only 2 weeks ago and look at the rejuvenation in it already. The thing about him screams wallaroo.
After searching for some macropods, Kane takes us to watch the sunset over the savannah. Kane manages Undara lava tubes, which is a crown jewel of the Gulf country. And Will never misses an opportunity to tell people about the Savannahlander.
The line runs from Almaden, basically comes through Mount Surprise, through Ainsley and across the Forsyth. The whole idea of this line was for minerals in the area, everything from copper and silver and lead and gold and all sorts of stuff.
He really loves his job.
Go to Croydon, so the idea would be we meet up with the Croydon-Normanton line that the Gulflander now operates on. So, surveyor back in the day.
Time to head to the lava tubes and watch the bats fly out.
So for the start of the tour, we're not going to be using too much light, and as this part of the tour progresses and hopefully we get some snakes catching a bat, our management plan then allows us to use more light. So we're really making sure that we're not impacting or disturbing these animals too greatly. We want the snakes to come out, we want the bats to be able to come out, we want the bats to be able to feed, the snakes to feed on the bats. If we just stand there and look at the snake with a torch, no bats come out, they don't eat.
Time to switch to night vision. I'm so scared. What's the movie?
Bewitched. No, not Bewitched. Blair Witch.
Blair Witch.
Bewitched.
I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Wow, there are already bats everywhere. Whoa.
Okay, so
This is cool. Hear it?
the massive bat
That's just
has only just begun.
4 types of insectivorous bat, also known as microbats, roost in the caves. Baker's Cave is a major nursery site for the large bent-winged bat, the eastern cave bat, northern horseshoe bat, and coastal sheath-tail bat. And it's not long before Will spots the first snake.
There's a snake right there.
What is it?
Just underneath their heads.
Whereabouts?
Right here.
Oh, yeah.
Very important.
Ah, that's awesome, Will.
Okay, please hold and brace onto this. We're going to get the continuing circle or vortex of bats spinning around, and the outside layer is peeling off. I'll shed a little bit of light on this just as you look up. Okay, a little tiny bit of light, and hopefully you can see that. Oh yeah. So firstly, we'll talk about the bats. Insectivorous microbats, this is really as big as they get. This cave can have upwards of about 80 to 110,000 bats within it within peak breeding times.
And all these bats provide food for a large population of brown tree snake. Each evening, as the bats fly out, the snakes wait on trees just outside of the cave in ambush. The brown tree snake is a rear-fanged, mildly venomous snake with origins from Asia, arriving in Australia in the last few thousand years.
These guys, they do have that venom, so they are able to grab the bat. They will also use constriction, not so much to throw coils around the lung cavities of this animal and stop it from breathing, more just to hold it in place while that venom goes to work and kills the animal. Our snakes have extremely small fangs, they're all grooved. The longest is the coastal taipan, and they've been measured up to about 11 or 12 mil, but that's just like, 7 or 8 foot animals, but still got that movement back in the tail.
What happens when the snake grows for weeks? Can it kill?
There's wide brown tree snakes, and not bigger pythons. How many bats would fill up a 7 foot carpet python? Like, you'd probably have to come here and he'd either have to eat every night, or he'd have to sit here and try and catch 30, possibly 40 of these things in a feed. Once he gets here, he's going to get himself a feed, pretty easy to do. But once you've had a big feed, like, Sizzlers isn't around anymore, do you remember all you can eat Sizzlers?
Yeah, they were awesome.
You come out of that in the car park, first thing you want to do is just eat somewhere. Like, you don't want to go on a big marathon to try and find a tree that you've been living in 500 metres away. So come down here, find a crack in the cave, snuggle up in there, digest that over a period of days, and then next thing you know, you're hungry again. But this time, instead of having a cruising, not just temperature, it's also going to depend on whether it's a male or female. We tend to find with female snakes, they're real gutsers. And they're gutsers because they eat as much as they can. Once that female snake gets or becomes gravid.
Well, we haven't seen a snake feeding on a bat, but all that means is I'll have to come back here again, and I'm pretty excited about the thought of that. It's pretty rare to see so many snakes in the one place, so I totally recommend that you all come up to Undara and give it a go yourselves one day, perhaps on the Savannahlander.
Sometimes I've done this and I've turned around and
So last night we stayed out at Undara, and I just want to show you this cool train carriage that I slept in last night. They've taken these old train carriages and converted them into hotel rooms. Will was pointing out it's got the old Queensland Rail logos even.
Alright, I just want to show you something really cool. It's a bit of bush tucker, though it's not actually native, but it is wild all across northern Australia. It's called bush passion fruit, and it grows on vines like this, and you can't eat it when it's green like that. It's toxic, but when it is orange, I'll show you what it's like. Check that out, just like passion fruit, and tastes even sweeter, I reckon, than a normal passion fruit. Absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna have some more. So today we're going back down from Mount Surprise to Cairns. We've got a shortened journey because there's still debris over the track, further on from Mount Surprise towards Forsyth and Ainsley.
It's the tail end of the wet season, so there's debris everywhere from all the flooding that you get with the wet. Also, the grass is really long at this time of year. But there's plenty of wildlife on the way back.
Might have been 3 of us, right? Not going anywhere.
Yeah, what one's that? Steve, what's that? Come on.
Skippy.
Dessert spoon-shaped ears. So yeah, compared to those horses that we saw this morning, you see the difference?
How calm these are.
And there's still time for one more reptile.
Here geckos. Oh, hello. What a find. Spotted stimmy, eh?
Yeah. A pygmy banded spotted eastern Gulf stimmy. Mac. Cool.
In the world of biology, defining species can be quite difficult, and as is the case for this grumpy individual, it can go by many names at the moment. One thing for sure, it's an Antarrhiza, a genus which includes pygmy pythons, Stimson's pythons, and children's pythons. The main thing is, it's completely harmless, apart from needle-sharp teeth which are trying to sink into the camera right now.
Do you want to hold the shitty snake?
Yeah, hunters. Very good. So good.
But before long, the savannah turns back into the rainforest and the journey's at an end. And I can't think of a better place to have one last look than this waterfall. Thanks for joining me on this journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment below. And if you really like, come for a trip on the Savannahlander. I can't recommend it enough. There's a link to their website below where you can book. And last but not least, a big thanks to Will for taking me on the train and showing me all the wildlife.